Hi Flosstube and Instagram friends. Welcome back to my channel, Contented Needleworker Kim. Today is Monday, July 14, 2025, and this is Flosstube episode number 91. So I have a lot to share with you. I did get to go to the Bristol retreat in Mesa, Arizona put on by Attic Needleworks and had an amazing time as always. You know, my favorite thing about going to these retreats now, it's the people. I love meeting new friends and getting to spend time with friends that I don't get to see otherwise. We did get to make the video. Amy, Mrs. Flossy, has it up on her channel. So it's Amy and Diane, the woodpecker's daughter. And then Nanette joined us again with her beautiful stitching, as well as Trisha, Preb409, and Karen Lynch, both from Instagram as well. So, and there's just, oh my gosh, the stitching that they all had to share. Diane had an amazing finish of her peacock, unicorn, and badger by the Scarlet Letter. So I'll link our video below so that you can go over there if you haven't already seen it. Such beautiful stitching and some beautiful framed pieces, just a lot of fun things to share, as well as a little bit about the retreat. So I know there's already been some recaps. I don't have a whole lot to really share about that in the way of details, but just the best part, like I said, the people I got to meet. Let me just, a few real quick shout outs. Melissa, I had a fantastic time. This is the first time going. I usually go to the attic and I'm at the store as much as possible while I'm there. But this time I went on the Thursday and I was there for, I don't know, good 4 hours. And Amy and we went home to make the video to Diane's house from there. And then Friday, my husband and I had our regular breakfast, which we have a spot that we go to. And then I said, no, take me back to the hotel because it was hot and I'm just going to sit and hunker down at the lobby and stitch. And that's what I did. I sat in the lobby and that's where I met Melissa and, you know, a bunch of other, you pick a table. And as the day progresses, people come and go and sit and stitch. And it was amazing. Jennifer, thank you so much. There was where did I put it? I'll come across it, Jennifer. She shared with a little tissue holder that she made. I love the handmade gifts that people are so generous. As well as Debbie from Acorns and Threads. It was just, and on and on and on and on. Lisa, Hoops and Hooks. I got to meet Lisa. We've been Instagram friends forever. And she came and said, I'm Lisa. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had as much time as I could with her. And I'm sure I'm forgetting. But it was wonderful. So let me go ahead and, well, let's talk about what's on my wall. And then I'll share, I have a lot of stitching to share with you as well. And my new birthday present. But let's start with what's on my wall that you can see. So this is Needlework Press and it's Phoebe J. Mead. And I pulled that out because I also got some lovely shout outs from some fellow floss tubers. So Beck Stitches Everything, Rebecca, she mentioned that she had watched my video where I was talking about perforated paper. And so this is one that I know you bought the chart. And so I wanted to share this with everyone. This is on 18 count perforated paper. Just a reminder, 18 count only comes in white and you need to either writ dye it, you know, use a stamp pad, something on your own if you want to distress it, which is what I've done with this. And I have another perforated paper piece to share. But Rebecca has a fantastic finish of a portion of a reflet de soie chart. I can't remember what, Ernestine or something like that. I've seen it. It's beautiful. There are lots of several very large motifs. It's a large sampler. But she took the bouquet of flowers and stitched it on perforated paper. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Is that the called for colors? It's just beautiful. And she had wanted to go down, I think, do some other things on perforated paper. So that made me think of that. As well as Rebecca also has a fantastic finish of Gwenns Bouquet, which I will share with you in a minute. This is Victoria's Garden by Heartstring Samplery. And then right up top is by Samplers Not Forgotten. I think it's called Joyful Song. It's a companion piece, what I refer to as a companion piece to a whip that I will show you. So it's Joy something. It might be Joy. I think it's Joyful Song. Okay, so that, oh, and one more here, Needle Made Designs, Blackwater Blooms, you can see peeking out of the corner. It is actually charted and stitched on the cover in black, but I did mine in like a red, I think it was Red Fox. It's a Gloriana or a Belsois, I think it's a Belsois. So that's what made me share that with you because I also have a whip that will kind of relate. So let me share again right here my new backdrop, because this is my birthday present from my mom. She just gave me some cash, you know, when you find something you want. And we went and celebrated my birthday, which was the 4th of July. My husband and I went for the weekend, and he took me to an antique mall, and I saw this. It was already painted. It's already distressed. I don't want to do any more projects. No more painting, no more any of that. So this was already this color. It's a, do we call it a barrister's bookcase? It's got the 4 shelves, and the doors will pull out and close down. So it's really good for display. And I am so excited because it fits this size of, which is the majority of my project bags are this size. And then the ones that are taller will still be displayed in a basket, but it freed up so many. I had like 3 different baskets going with all of my whips. And this contains quite a few of them on just this one shelf. And I love it being able to, I'm working at trying to get all the little tags with the designer name on them. Maybe there's a different kind of tag already, like maybe a floss drop that I used to put the name. I've got them alphabetized by designer is pretty much how I've got them in the bags. And I went and hunted all the bling. I just put bling on every bag, anything I had. It's just, this is just a fantastic way to store my project bags now. So thanks, Mom. She doesn't watch, but thanks, Mom. So let's move now to some finishes. You can see this one right here. So let's start with my friend Kenzie Mud Puppy Stitchery. This is the tufted titmouse, which I stitched on a 40 count piece of linen that I dyed with Rit dye to make it pink. So I've done that quite a bit with the pink Rit dye, and I really like how it comes out. So I did have to change, this is, I think it's all DMCs that she started it with, but I had to change the pinks just because of the color of my linen. The pinks that Kenzie chose didn't show up, so I just made some substitutions there, but they're all still beautiful pinks. I stole this frame because this goes to another piece I finished recently, and it's perfect for that, so I just popped this in here to share it with you today. I think it's, I will make another frame for this one. I think it's too big for a pillow, but Kenzie, when she does her next video, you'll be able to see, if you follow her on Instagram, she did a gorgeous circle finish with the pom-pom trim around it, and it just came out so cute. I didn't know it would fit in a circle. I left off a couple of things from here. I didn't continue the branch down here, and I think there's a little more branch up here, and no particular reason. There might even be a little branch here, but I thought, oh, this will fit perfectly. It's balanced. So I did really well stitching this digitally. It helps me not get lost. I've talked a lot about how now I'm loving stitching things digitally. I actually shared a video. I made a short little video, and I talked about how I use my Apple Books or iBooks. And thank you so much, because a lot of you had some really helpful or wonderful comments based on just the little tiny non-tutorial tutorial that I shared with you. I should try to create a playlist. I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure I can figure it out, so that I show you how I've made the framing video where I cut down my own frames to fit my pieces. I frame things from thrifted frames. I should do that, and I should do this. And then I also was going to try to do the video showing you how I use my Lowry in my stitchy spot. Things got really crazy around here. You know what? We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I am still going to try to make the video showing you how I use my Lowry in my stitchy spot. So look for that. I'll do my best to get that up shortly. So then I've got, let me see, you can just sneak peek my Burke's parakeet back there. This is the other one that I've stitched by Kenzie. And if you follow my friend Karen, the Stitching Owl, she has model stitched several of Kenzie's designs, and actually is currently stitching another one right now. So you'll be able to follow along and see Karen's progress over there. I also, let me take a brief moment to show you my stitchy box, because when I went to the retreat, here, I'll fix it. When I went to the retreat at Bristol, I took one of my stitchy boxes and I just loaded it up with everything pink. This actually, I didn't have these with me at the time, but I just wanted to share these. Aren't these fantastic? A friend who knows me well, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I think I will display them in a stitchy box in my room, but just some beautiful, I've got my blingy pen from Amazon, my blingy pink pen. Everything's pink. That's just the theme, right? This is that little small that was a retreat piece. Is it Fanny Price by Fox and Rabbit? Sorry, let me show you. I've got my pink tape measure. I've got a little, all the needle minders, a lot of them. Anything pink. Again, that was the key. The little pin cushion. And this was a gift stitched for me with my letter. I think knitted. Shelly, It's Only Stitching, knitted the little frogs. I don't think they're crocheted. Isn't that cute? And a little bit pillow that I stitched, and I just put the pins in. Sorry, I'm not showing that very well, am I? So that was the theme. This was a gift at the prior retreat, the little pink bear. Everything pink was the theme. All right, let's see if I can manage to put some of this back and get more settled. That will fit. This will fit back here. And then this will go. Like I said, I just popped this in here for now to be able to share it with you. So let's pop it back and we're all good to go. All right. So let's see what I worked on. When I went to the retreat, I had a small project planned because I don't do a lot of stitching, and I knew that this one would be enough. So I started and finished the, it's Bird in Hand by Blackbird Designs. And the chart has gone on a walkabout. Like I mentioned, things are still a little bit chaotic around here due to our remodel. I will share with you, but that's what I stitched on while I was there. I think this is a piece of, a scrap piece of Embarrassed from Kitten Stitcher. That's what it looks like to me. And this is a very small start because when I finished the bird, we were given, I didn't bring the other chart, I'm sorry, it'll show up, but this is what we were given from Claudia at Dutch Treat Designs, this little perforated paper piece and the DMCs, and I just got a small start on it. I didn't like the greens. She gave us like random colors, and I wasn't feeling the green on my linen, and so I put it aside to pick a different green when I got home. And I've had other things that have been calling to me, but when I'm done, I'll just cut this in half and make 2 more pillows. I think they'll be a cute little pin disc like I showed you, or just a little pillow in my stitchy box. So let's see. And then, so my other finish over here is my birthday start from last year. So this is Gwenns Bouquet by Maximum Cross Stitch. I think this was 40 count rose petal is the linen. And I used the charted DMC alternatives because she did chart this in Roxy Floss Co. flosses, and I used the DMCs. So this is a birthday start from last year with my friend Catherine Adrian, who is stitching in costume, and Barbara, who's the raspberry stitcher, as well as my friend Steph, Late Girl Stitches, started with me, and she finished it long ago. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was strategic about this. I wanted to work on it because it was my birthday stitch from last year, and I was making some really good progress. I didn't have much done, and I really had a whole lot more to go, but I worked on it for a few days, and then I was like, oh, I don't know if I can work on this anymore. But one of the things I had to do while they were doing the renovation was hike myself over to my mom's. She lives close, but I only took this project because I thought that way I will be limited and I'll finish it, because if I don't take anything else, it's small, it's manageable. I don't need to take a bunch of things. I just need something to stitch on while I'm there for a few days. And so this made me really keep focusing on finishing this, and I am so happy to have it done. I don't usually do that. I stitch what I want, when I want, kind of a thing, but I don't know, it just felt good to have my birthday start finished from last year. I don't have an official one that we were celebrating my birthday out and about, so I actually don't even think I stitched on my birthday because I didn't take anything with us. I know that when we go places, we're busy, and hotel lighting is really difficult for me. I can't see a lot of the things I stitch on, it's 40 count, and I need really good lighting, and I struggle in a hotel. I had something I wanted to share with you, and oh, I don't see it here. I'm gonna try to show you below. Phooey, I didn't bring it. I Googled, so here's what I suggest. I Googled like cross stitch lighting, and it came up caterpillar cross stitch. there was a video that he did and he showed the headlamp, and there's a link to where he got it on Amazon. So you'll see it, you'll find the video if you do that. And it's the really lightweight, very nice bright light that goes right across here. It's like a narrow strip, and they come 3 in a box, and they're rechargeable like you charge your phone, has a little charger like that. And they're fantastic because the lighting is like right where I need it to be. It doesn't create shadows. You know, when you have a hard time coming with, the light has to come from the correct direction. Anyway, I got those, and I took them, and when I was at my mom's the last couple of days, I stitched by that just exclusively, and it was perfect. So I'm very excited now for future situations where I don't have an easy way to, the lighting that I have anyway. Anyway, it worked great. If I can link it, I will try to link the one that I got below. Okay, so let's see what's next. I think we're going to move on to some whips and progress that I have made. So this is Bird Song, what I consider the companion piece to that one, which is, I think it's Joyful Noise, Joyful Song, Joy Song. Sampler's Not Forgotten. I'm pretty sure it's the called for, and it was maybe Vintage Exemplar by Lakeside. It's a really pretty tan with like a red modeling undertone. So if you can't find that one, maybe you have something comparable. But I have to say that this one was really difficult for me. When I had picked it up, I'd only had this first flower down. These leaves, the chart is very tiny. And I've mentioned before that I'm struggling with charts that are very tiny. And so being able to see the 2 symbols for the leaves, I was really struggling. I had a very vivid memory of struggling. And when I pulled this out this time, and I took a picture and put it in my Apple Books, and I was able to blow it up, I was able to mark off as I go so I don't get lost and see the symbols nice and clear and large. And I felt like I just flew. So, and I didn't whine about it anywhere near as much. So I think that the odds are much greater now that I will have a finish on this. Probably not this year. It might still take me a bit of pulling it out. I have a lot of whips, but very much enjoyed that. And if I forgot to mention, you don't actually have to use Apple Books. You can just take a picture and stitch from your picture, because Kathy, when I went to Grand Central for the Stitchy Day there at Grand Central Quilts and Stitching in San Marcos, we had a Stitchy Day. And someone had actually also commented on the video that I did, the tutorial, that you can just take a picture, and then the picture, if you pull up your picture, there are options there for you to get to that menu that has the markers and the eraser and all of that. So you don't actually even have to have maybe an iPad. I think you can do that just from your picture. And I'm comfortable with the Apple Books now, iBooks, so I think I'll just continue to do that, but it's also another option. So that was really helpful to know. Always all these fun little pieces of information that help us in our stitching. So this is my other perforated paper piece that I think Rebecca saw, and I have made some progress. I'm just stitching the one with the birds. We were given this large sheet of 18 count perforated paper at the retreat where I got this, the Bristol retreat that I got this a bit ago, not this one, but prior to that. And I'm using the DMCs and overdyes. If I had the overdyes, I just kind of used whatever I had, and I might have made some substitutions, but they're very comparable. And I did mist this with a mister and some Rit dye on a nice hot day outside before I started it, because it's white, as I mentioned. And you have to, and if you want to learn how to do that, you can Google that as well, or put it on YouTube, because there are lots of people out there who have dyed their paper with different ways, different products. So I made a lot of progress on this again, because of being able to take a picture and put it in my Apple Books. And it's just really helpful for me to not lose my place. I can really cross off as I go very quickly, very efficiently. And apparently I'm a stitcher that needs to count, and I cannot hold the pattern in my head for any length of time. I think my friend Celeste is really good at that. I think she can hold something in her brain a lot longer and see it on the chart and then see it, stitch it. But I'm just like every stitch, I need to make sure I'm in the right place. So being able to cross it off as I go has really saved me. It's just so much easier. Okay, sorry, a little toasty for a moment. Now, this next one, I talked about last time that I was having a bit of a challenge with my linen. But I'm happy to say that it was probably just too late in the day and I was tired and I just couldn't see as well at that time of day, because I did pull it out again last night and I didn't have any issues. It was perfectly fine and really easy to stitch. So I've made some, it was last night, so I didn't have a lot of time, but I did make some progress. And I'm talking about Coming Home by Diana Bloom Designs. I'm down in this area right here because I really wanted to stitch this pink house. And it is 40 count Evergreen Fog by, hold on, I know, Seraphim Fabrics. Now it's charted in Roxy Floss, but Diana has done a DMC conversion, and that is what I am using. So 1/2. Lots of trailing working threads because I was jumping around. I like to jump around. It helps me not get, I get bored with too much block stitching, one color, and I also like to have lots of checks and balances. So counting. I did get this as a PDF, but I could not get this to come into my markup RXP. The page break was all funky and I couldn't figure it out, and I decided that it really wasn't necessary. I just taped the chart, I printed it out, taped it together, took a picture of it, and put it in my Apple Books, and it was fine. So I know you're probably gonna hear me say that every video now, because I just really want to encourage you to give it a whirl. It has been so helpful for me. Okay, The Visitor by Nest of Petals. Got some more Nest of Petals. Got this from her Etsy store in a PDF. And I am using the called for DMC flosses, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I changed anything. I don't remember if there are any overdyes. There may be, but. And this is Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim, 40 count. Have I gone to stitching upside down yet? I don't think so. I think it's still too far. I think I'm still stitching this way. I was wondering because I put the thing up here. Yeah, I must have just moved it down a little bit. When I get a little bit higher, I'll start stitching upside down. Oh, that one, I really, really love that one. Okay. Super excited. I told you about this the last time that I was going to be starting this as soon as it came out in a PDF. Thank you. This is by my friend Macy, Quaint Rose Needle Arts. Thank you so much, Macy. This is just, it's so beautiful and it's different. It's not pink, but I love these colors together. This kind of like a mustard yellow and this beautiful blue. It's called Something Blue. And I think I'm using her colors, pretty sure. Oh, I do. I don't think I had one of the brown, the dark brown in the branch. I think I had to do a substitution for that. Nothing too major, but so pretty. And Dirty Teacup, 40 count Dirty Teacup by Needle and Flax. And there is my start. Worked on it for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. I'm going to stitch the whole thing. I know that'll surprise a lot of you because it's a perfect finish in an oval frame, I'm sure, but the border is not that intense and I like to have variety on my walls. So I think this is just so elegant. I really enjoy the composition. This is one that actually Macy did a mashup of some antique samplers. So she actually took some 2 different ones, I'm assuming it was 2, and put them together. And I'm just like, woo. Yes. Okay, this is a very small start, and the only reason is because I have been wanting to get this started forever. I was running out of time. I was stitching birds in the month of June. I was headed to Bristol, and I really only had a small amount of time to get a start. This is going to be my first Teresa Kogat chart. I've loved it forever. The border is just too much, so I'm going to stitch the inside. A lot of people have stitched this. You look on Instagram and it's so inspiring. My friend Jan, Hoop It Up with Jan, and I told you that I saw this in person at Acorns and Threads. Sarah has a beautiful finish. I think it was 28 count vintage country mocha, so it's very large. It's fantastic. Excuse me, I'm only going to stitch the inside. Probably the moth, because it does fill out the space nicely. I don't know if I'll have to do the letters. I hope not. I think it'll look okay without the letters. I mean, not mind stitching them, but I don't think they'll be necessary. So, Sampler Gold by Color and Cotton. Again, 40 count. So like I mentioned, very teeny tiny start, because I think I was just trying to get it going before I had to go. And I knew I couldn't take it with me. It would just be not quite comfortable to stitch on. It's a little bit larger. I'm just trying to remember if I used the called for floss or if I switched it to a silk. I don't have my bag here, but I'll know next time. I'll have a little more details, because I did pick up some of the called for flosses while I was at the attic, the overdyes. Okay, Peacock Pincushion. Everyone has stitched this already. I was inspired again because I saw Sally from Stitchy Sally stitching this recently. She showed it and I said, oh my gosh, that's it. I'm gonna get it out and get a start and stitch with Sally. The reason I kept getting stalled is because I wanted to make it pink. And that's a lot of decisions to make when you're going to change the colors. And I kept going back, well, just keep it blue. No, I really wanted to make it pink. So I'm using some 100.3 silks from different things that have been kitted up that I've received from retreats, etc. Because it's not something I typically stitch with. It knots a lot. I get a lot of knots. So I don't always choose to stitch with it, but I wanted to give it a whirl and I had colors, so I'm just pulling from the ones I have. I think this is another piece of Embarrassed from Kitten Stitcher, 40 count. So I just had a scrap. And to me, that's a lot of what we'll decide. I'll wait. I won't start something, especially if it's a small chart like that. I won't start it until I don't have to cut into this huge piece of linen, because I know eventually I'm going to have a small piece that's going to be perfect. So I'm just very frugal with my linen. Okay, this has got to be the one I think I've had the most. Well, I liked Something Blue, my other start, an awful lot. I like them all. I really had fun stitching this one. I think it was just because I liked seeing the motifs here, the two of them come together. I used the DMC's called for, except for I used a silk for their hair color to darken it up a little bit, and it was Briar Patch. It's Belsois or Gloriana. I can't remember which one, because those are the two I stitched with the most. I have the most of. Scrimshaw, 40 count Scrimshaw. I'm only going to here. I'm not going to make it say Mansfield Park. That is not my favorite Jane Austen novel. This is something that they've put out. Twin Peak Primitives has put out 6 of these Quaker motifs based on her Jane Austen's novels, and changed the, obviously made the houses and all that correlate. But I'm stitching this, started it with my friend Rainy from Rainy Day Reads and Crafts, who is stitching Northanger Abbey. And Nerdan, we have a small request. The charted quote on Northanger Abbey is actually the same one that's on this one, Mansfield Park. And I believe this quote goes to the Mansfield Park book, so it's not appropriate. It's not the correct one, I should say, for the Northanger Abbey. We're wondering if you could chart something different so that we don't have to, something from Northanger Abbey to go, that my friend Rainey would be able to use. We'll manage. I'll figure it out if not, but she's doing that one. And then my friend April Heirlooms is stitching the Pride and Prejudice one, because that's her, the couple is from the Keira Knightley movie, and that's her favorite version. So I picked this because, actually it's so funny because you asked me and I saw pink, but when I pulled the flosses and I started stitching, it's much more of a like a purple undertone, which is fine as well, because they're still just beautiful, but they're more purple, dusky, yeah, than actually pink. I started this motif. I think the color is fine. It's not going to show up a lot. It doesn't show up a lot on here. That's actually okay, but I wasn't sure. So I just stitched a few stitches and thought, I'll come back. I'll think about it and come back. But, oh my gosh, I really, really, really enjoyed stitching this. And I think she did such a fantastic job. I know they don't have like, you know, eyes or a mouth, that doesn't bother me. I think that the hair, especially the little hair around her bangs there. Oh my gosh, so perfect. So I really have enjoyed stitching this, as I mentioned. Okay, this is my last start that I have to share with you. And this is the one, again, I told you I was so excited to have this come out. A Cloud of Sweetness. This is also going to be now my first modern folk embroidery piece. Not that I don't love a lot of his designs, but some of them are quite a commitment. And so I hadn't found the one that I had decided for sure yet. This is why I pulled Blackwater Blooms, because I kind of wanted to show you, my idea was to stitch it in the same type of an oval finish. I am not planning on stitching anything else. I even cut my linen, so I'll only be able to add what fits. I do like the baskets and the corner pieces. It's another really good place if you don't want to stitch the outer border. Lots of friends we were all very excited about this one. So Sarah Stitchy Spot, Steph is Lake Girl Stitches, me and Renee, the two of us, Renee and I, we started this together. Well, we had a very small start because she didn't have a lot of time to go much farther, but I got a lot more done just yesterday. I sat down with it and got a lot more done. So I picked a couple of colors, Juby's Pink and Olive Green. Both of these are Gloriana flosses. I chose them when I was at the attic. Had some fun conversation with Susan Stanley and Pat from Lakeside Linens, and just over sitting by the floss wall, and I was asking, you know, different ideas. And it's not as variegated. It's charted for the Roxy floss, and I think there are, you know, it's like a front and back conversion, but I did not have the Roxy floss, and so that's why I just chose these when I was there. Like I said, they're not as variegated. I don't really like stitching with highly variegated floss. I think it's harder for me because I don't stitch one X at a time. I like to go all the way across and back in sections when I can. So, you know, there are different ways. You could stitch it in a circle. You could stitch, you know, like over 3 and back 3 and over 5 and back 5. You could break it up. There are different ways in which you can tackle variegated floss. And I think this is going to be very bright, a little brighter. I'm going to love it. I already love it. So I'm going to be very happy with my floss choices. I know Steph chose some silks as well. They're different. And Sarah is using some DMC color choices, I think, from the darker colorway. I think Phoebe Moonshine Stitchery is also stitching this. I'm sure I've forgotten someone, but this is 40 Count Dolomite by Fiber on a Whim. It's that piece that I just showed you and said, oh my gosh, I just love this so much. It looks a little more, it's a brown pink, and it definitely looks a little more brown here, but I love it. I had a big piece of it. That was gifted to me. That's the one I wanted to stitch, that Helen Patum. And I know I'm probably gonna have to stitch it on the whiter color, but still, I did cut a big piece. I did cut off of the big piece for this particularly because I loved it so much. So that was my start. It's not really a birthday start because, like I said, I didn't officially start on my birthday, but my birthday month is stitching all the things that I want, which I do anyway. So I also pulled this because I've seen this. There was a finish on Instagram. I'm sorry I didn't write down the name, but there was also Nicole's Needlework was showing this as something that I think she saw the same thing on Instagram. And I had this chart for years. I think it's beautiful, but that border is probably not something I want to stitch. And I've always been looking at it thinking, well, it's very repetitive, right? I've always been looking at it thinking, how can I change it up? Do I want to change it up? I just think it's beautiful. So this is one that I thought, oh, you know what? This might be a good perforated paper choice, something to stitch on maybe 14 count that comes in brown. I might do that because I was inspired by Rebecca. So there's that one, and there's also a needlework press that was actually that I didn't pull that, but that's also another one that might be a good one. So let me share with you, this is also the bag, Steph made me this bag, so I have that's what that goes in, the Cloud of Sweetness. Let me show you the Berlin woolwork piece that I was so excited to see. at the attic, got to see the antique and the start of the model. It's not quite finished, but there was a lot to enjoy that Debbie had already gotten done. This was a sampler that Megan Jennett fell in love with, and she has owned for a number of years and wanted to reproduce, but it's no joke, right? It's a lot. There are a lot of specialty stitches, and she did a fantastic job. She didn't show you how to do the specialty stitches. They're all, you can easily Google them, but she did break it down and tell you what the blocks were and her best understanding of what the stitch would be, so that you could find it online and see how to stitch it. And I think she's done a great job of breaking it down for you color-wise and the stitches. I'm not planning on doing a lot of the specialty stitches. I do want to stitch the entire chart. I think it's fantastic. I will decide as I go whether I will just put regular cross stitches, or I can do a lot of specialty stitches if I choose, but we'll see. We'll see which ones I do. But I just love this chart. And I did come home and pick some linen to stitch it on, and I've chosen Cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim. And I did have I pulled all the DMCs, or went and got the ones I didn't have. So it's kind of hard to see sometimes fabric, isn't it? But I think this will be a good choice. And I like to use these floss cards, especially when there are so many flosses. This is almost 2 cards. And this way, the symbol, I can do my best rendition of putting the symbol on the card, and it's fewer steps, right? I don't have to go to the legend, find the symbol, and then go to my floss ring and pull the floss. I just can go to the card and pull the floss directly from there. And it seems like a little thing, but when you're stitching something with so many colors and color changes, every little bit, I think, still adds up in the way of taking time. Not that it's a race, but I like those little shortcuts. This is the bag that I shared with you that was a gift. You can find her on Etsy, and she's in Australia. Thank you so much, Tess. I love this bag, and so I'm happy to be putting my new start in here. I also was scheduled to start with my friend Stacy, Bluebird Paper and Thread on Flosstube and Instagram. I had shared Martha's Bird, or she shared Martha's Bird, and I was like, oh, I have that. Let's stitch together. I know that, Stacy, you're busy, but whenever you're ready, we're going to get a start, because my friend Krista, the wildflower stitcher, saw this as well and said, I have that. Let's start. I'll start with you. So Krista got, well, if everything went well, Krista got to start this morning, and I will hopefully have time later today to put some stitches in on that. I also have this, so Brooke and I were supposed to start this, and with my house being all torn up, everything was too hard to find. So Brooke and I are going to get a start on this. Brooke, let's do August. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, Natasha from Britches Get Stitches, she mentioned about stitching a bird. Maybe this is one you'd like to join us, either this one or the other one, Natasha, if you have. She had mentioned about stitching a bird in August, and I'm like, yeah. So July, I'm with summer school and all that, it's going to be busy and gone before you know it. So I pulled, since I finished Gwenns Bouquet, I also have been wanting to get a start on Emmaine Pernell, which is an exclusive Hands Across the Sea chart from Acorns and Threads. And that's where I got it when I went to go on my one visit there. I hope I get to go there again. I hope I get to go for a stitchy day. I would love to sit and stitch with everyone, see Anna stitch roadies, which I'm going to see Anna and Sarah at summer school. So I'm super excited about that. And this one I've had now for a couple of years, and I get to see Sandy is, so she was interested in the experience of reproducing a sampler, and this is the one that she had and chose, I guess, and has such an appreciation now, she said, for designers who do this, because I don't think she's planning on doing it again. But I get to see Sandy at a lot of the retreats at the attic, and I saw her there this last time, and it was the first time that I realized that Sandy was Whispered Stitches, the designer of this chart. So that was so fun. I got to tell her, I said, oh my gosh, I love it. It's so whimsical. It's just fun. It's not very many colors. I have the called for Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. Like I said, it's only 4 colors. I have them, or I can substitute or pick them up even when I go to summer school. So this is one I'm really wanting to get started soon. Please, soon. So that was a couple of just fun things. Now I do want to share, I got a couple of shout outs. I mentioned Rebecca. I also, Tommy Creates, she had some love for my pink walls. And I also, when I popped over there to check her out, she has a start on Strawberry Fields by Blackbird Design, and it's the arch. She made it into an arch. Instead of being the squared off rectangle of the vine, the border, she put it into an arch. It's really creative. Really, really enjoyed that. It was a great idea. I also, I have other things I want to share, but let me check my notes very quickly just to make sure. I saw I've seen a lot of whip parades. Trying to catch everybody, but Rosie in the Rockies, her whip parade, I've noticed that Rosie and I stitch a lot of the same things, either currently or I want to, or I'll just enjoy her stitching, but I would want to. So I recommend Rosie's video. Rose, Untwist Your Stitches, gave me a shout out. Thanks, Rose. And let's see, I did catch up with, it's my first time watching Julie, Screened Porch Stitcher. And I really enjoyed Julie's video. And my friend Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, for a fun little rabbit hole, watch her last video where she shares the Antique Needlework Library. Is a fantastic resource for you to go. You can get free charts that they have, antique samplers that they have recharted and then provided a PDF download for you. Oh my gosh. And she's got a current floral design that she's working on. You can catch it on Instagram. I saw it pop up this morning, as well as, like I said, go watch her video and she'll tell you all about it. I definitely went down that rabbit hole. Thank you so much, Megan. As well as Handmade Number 12 Stitch Co. Two different names. It's Nicola from Number 12 Stitch Co., but I think on Instagram she's Handmade at Number 12. I think it's like something along those lines. But Laura was talking about how she didn't know for sure whether the linen was 40 or 46. And Nicola had a really good picture illustration on her Instagram about the difference. They're, telling that it's Weigart because it has the orange stripe, but also being able to, let me see if I can find her really quickly. Being able to tell the difference between 40, 46, and 56, handmade at Number 12, based on the selvage of the linen that you see. So let me just show you and see if you can see that. So you see how the selvage is frayed, there's the orange stripe, and she just had a little write-up on how you can tell the differences. So I thought that was very interesting. Let's see what else we got going on. I did some Zooms. I highly recommend. Again, I did my third Across the Pond Zoom, which again, you go to Facebook, you join their Facebook group, and then about the week before, it's the second Saturday of the month when they have the Zoom. And about a week before, you'll start seeing where they'll put out the notice that the tickets are available, tickets. So you just go, you get your ticket, it's free, and then they send you a link and you can sit and Zoom with some lovely stitchers for a couple of hours. It's very organized, it's very enjoyable. I'm really, really glad that I'm able to go to those. I'm hoping the second Saturday is always going to be free. As well as there was a Fourth Friday, I think it was called. I think that's what it was. I got to research this because it was my first time. Sassy Jacks, Kimberly from Sassy Jacks, she does a Zoom, and same thing. Go to Sassy Jacks, the website, and you'll see it's available there for you to be able to get the link and all that, because she's cautious about how she sends it out. So check for that. I think maybe that's the fourth Friday of every month. I've got to double check that. As well as just, some regular friends. I'm always up for a Zoom and enjoy that. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I'm hoping this time I haven't been able to go to the last two Lindy Stitches. Stephanie Webb does the online Zoom extravaganza. This is, what is this called? Midsummer Night, I think. And it's going to be the 19th and 20th. So I haven't gotten my ticket yet just because I need to make sure we don't have plans. Saturdays can definitely be tricky. So I'm hoping to go to that one this coming Saturday. If you're going to be there, I hope I see you there. So that was all that. And is that everybody? Is that everything? Oh, I have a few. Okay, so I want to show you some of the things that I got. I've shared this before. My beautiful project, my tote bag, the big tote bag that Diane, the woodpecker's daughter, made for me for my birthday quite a few years ago now, and I just love. I've had some accessories added because Nanette, she even found the same fabric. Like Nanette, oh my gosh, we shared these on the video that I did with Amy and everybody, but she made these little extras, so I've got them attached to my bag. And then Renee, this is the second time I got to see Renee at a retreat, and she has made these little zipper pouches. Look at this, look how they look so difficult. She said they weren't, but that's, I guess, if you're a sewist. Or if you just practice, you know, I'm sure we can all get there if we practice, but aren't those fabulous? They're attached, so it came as 2 of them. So thank you so much, Renee. Oh my gosh. And then I just wanted to share these before. So after a while, it starts all my pink things in my bag. This was Nanette made this, and Diane gave me this one when I saw her at the retreat, and Amy gave me this little floss bling here. Isn't that fantastic? Like I said, we shared these on the, oh, and I think there's a thread bed in here too. I know there's a thread bed in here as well. So that's amazing. Thank you, Diane. And over the years, like I said, I mean, look at the matching little, Diane is, both Diane and Nanette, I think, are the two that make the most of these extra little, they like playing around. They like to sew, and they like trying different things. And so I am a very happy beneficiary. I benefit from their talents. This was Jennifer made this really cute little, and I needed it too. When I was at the retreat, I'm like, oh, where's my tissue holder? She even came with tissue. So that was perfect. Thank you. And another little, all these little things are great for a go bag. Gotta get a go bag. I want a stitchy go bag where you put, and that's often what I use these for. I put scissors, needle minder, a little thing of needles, and my glasses. And what I really need to make sure I have is a lot of smaller projects ready to go, so that at a moment's notice you can grab something and have it ready to stitch. And that's a goal of mine. Summer school is coming up, and I need to decide on the small project that I'm going to stitch on. I've learned I don't take a bunch. I don't need a lot of variety. I just really need something manageable that I can stitch on while I'm there. So I have to figure that out. I always say I have plenty of time, and then before you know it, it's the day before and I'm not ready, and I'm having to kit it up. I had this little bling already, and then Diane added to my collection. I love the little jingle jangle that they make when you walk. So I still am in love with my bag. I'm looking around. Oh, I did have something I wanted to share with you. I had to move it. Can you hold on? I'm going to have to get up really quickly because I forgot to bring it down to share with you. My husband, he has asked me, he's like, he's not a fan. Let's put it that way. I found her, I don't know if she's like officially antique, but I found this at an antique mall years ago. And I have several of them. I have a medium one, I have a smaller one, and I have, you can see her shoes. I have a doll. Like I said, a lot of them are not necessarily, I don't even know how to tell that they're authentic antiques, but I like her, the coloring, her head. And my husband does not, so it was up here. He's like, can you move? I like a lot of your other ones. He's like, but that one I don't particularly care for. So it made me laugh. So I did move it and I replaced it. He didn't mind this one. But I wanted to show you, because you saw that I put pins in that. I wanted to show you some of my little, this is just a little salt shaker I found at an antique mall, and pins. You know, you just, every time you go, people are so generous, and you go to retreats after a while, you get quite a little collection. So I enjoy that, and they're on my little hutch over there. And then this is an egg cup, and I pick these up at antique malls. I used to, no more. I have a lot of them. After a while, you're like, oh my gosh, it's too many. But I got this because, of course, it's got the pink, and so it's just the one. I don't have a set. So I like to put these on display, and I just thought I wanted to share, mostly because I thought that was funny that my husband was not very fond of the other one. Okay, I think that is everything. I hope so anyway. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. As usual, we'll just talk about it next time. So I'm on my way to summer school, And I do not know I have a lot of thoughts about plans in the way of, it's going to be stitching samplers, which is generally what I'm back to now anyway. And I was thinking about like maybe focusing on samplers with houses, not necessarily stitching the house, but just a sampler with the house. I really want to do that video with my friend Steph, where we share the whips that we have in common, because we have a lot, and I think it'd be fun just to see our progress on them, whether we're finished, just, where we're at. So I think that would be fun. I know she's busy, so just making a time for that. We had the bathroom, let me tell you, I guess briefly, we had a leak in our bathroom. It led to us deciding to do a bathroom renovation because we were going to have to replace the floor. Let's do the walk-in shower. That ended up, the whole house needed to be repiped for water. So it ended up a way bigger job than we had initially anticipated, and got really, it was, renovations, they can be a little stressful. It was a lot, having to have all your drywall, cut open, everything out of your closet, everything off your walls, living with dust. And that's why I was at my mom's. I don't know if I mentioned, but I went to my mom's quite a few days, and I stayed the night there on her couch a couple times, just to get out of all of the construction, everything. We went to a hotel a couple of nights, and it is pretty much now resolved in the way of, we've had to make some compromises. Didn't quite get everything. But it's close to being finished now, which is the happy part. And we'll have to get the whole house repainted because of all the drywall repair and stuff, which I wanted to do anyway. I mean, I've been wanting to get that done, but it's a big ticket item, and it's also a lot to move everything out of the way. So that has been very disruptive. And one of the things I was really glad is that all that purging I've been doing has been so beneficial, because if this had happened before I had gotten rid of a lot of things, I was like, what would I have done with everything? So that was really, really helpful to know that I had fewer things to find a place for. As well as when I spent the time at my mom's, I asked her, I said, hey mom, I said, let me go through the room where I've got a bunch of stuff in there. Let me go through that and see what I can get rid of. Either send it to Goodwill or give to my friend at church so that she can sell it or do whatever she wants with it. She said, well, what about the stuff in the kitchen? And I'm like, oh, what do I have in the kitchen? Oh my gosh, I had stuff in the kitchen. So we made another big pile and gave it to my friend. It benefited my mom. It benefited my friend. It benefited me. It was like, this has been really good. So, but it's also been a bit chaotic because everything is everywhere, and I have not managed to get everything back where it belongs yet, because we're not totally, back in, anyway, it's still a process, but it's been really good. And I'm ready now that the garage is empty again, doesn't have all the things in it. I'm ready to get in there and do another sweep and see if there are some more things that I can get rid of. So that's been great. I think, did I mention? So I think that's everything. That's all the stitching. My husband is going to share scripture, and we always hope that you will stay for the scripture. But I look forward to either seeing you on the Midsummer Zoom or maybe one of these others I've mentioned. I did don't forget, my friend Sandy has a Zoom the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month, Stitching with Sandy. And these are all great opportunities for us to, I might not ever meet you in person, but it's really, really enjoyable to sit there and have time to spend together on a Zoom. So hopefully I'll see some of you in one of those places. So take care, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.
Welcome back. Thank you again for sticking around and allowing me to share some scripture with you today. It's always a blessing to do this. And, I know that, when we're just reading scripture and sharing it, his word never comes back void. So again, thank you for, just the privileges to share these passages with you. Today I wanted to share a few verses from Colossians chapter 1, verses 12 to 14. Our pastor did a sermon a couple Sundays ago titled Count Your Blessings on this passage. So let me first read the passage, then I'll go over a few points with you. Verse 12 of chapter 1 in Colossians says, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to share in the inheritance of the saints in light. For he rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, Jesus, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. This passage is all about being thankful for what God has already done for us. Excuse me. If we are Christians, we already have these things again. A lot of times we fall into woe is me, we fall into being negative about everything. And a lot of times we just need to turn our eyes to God and say, thank you, Lord. So, there was 4 things that our pastor, as he did as bullet points of what we should be thankful for. Number 1 is that God has qualified us to share in the inheritance of the saints of light. So at the time of salvation, when we put our faith in Jesus, he has made us fit. He's qualified us for heaven. There's nothing else that needs to be done. I don't need to work anymore to get to heaven. I don't need to do anything more. I put my faith in him, and he's made us fit to go to heaven. The second is he rescued us from the domain of darkness. So, before we were saved, it's of the domain of darkness. That's basically because Satan, the enemy, this is his kingdom here on earth until you put your faith in Jesus. And then you are transferred, which is the next thing. He transfers us to the kingdom of his beloved Son. So again, thank you, Lord, for doing that. He's the one that did the rescuing. He's the one that transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, Jesus. And then lastly, it says, in whom, which is Jesus, we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. He's redeemed us, from basically, they call it the slave market of sin. And he's transferred us into his beloved Son's kingdom. But he did that by redeeming us. He bought us with the price of his blood by his death on the cross. And by doing that, we now have eternal life. We have forgiveness of our sins, past, present, and future. And, the thing that I really get out of these verses is I have the assurance of knowing that I am his son and I will spend eternity with Jesus in heaven. I hope that these verses bless you. I hope that you will meditate on these and just be thankful for the blessings that we as Christians already have. God bless you all.